I heard a rumor that you were dating Jay Cutler. Is that false or?
Oh, no.
That was 3 of the questions on people asking.
What is wrong with people?
Hey guys, what's up? It's Katie Austin here, and welcome back to Austin AF. So today is actually International Podcast Day, and it was the cutest thing fucking ever. My team, when I came into the studio today, got cookies with Austin AF cover shot on it, AKA me holding the mic. I don't think I've ever had my face on a cookie or cake. This is literally the coolest shit ever. So freaking cute. So happy International Podcast Day. Right now, I am about to eat one of these cookies. They're so pretty, I don't even want to eat them, but gonna eat one of these cookies and enjoying my Starbucks coffee. Side note right here, you guys always ask me what my Starbucks order is, and so I might as well just say it right now. It is a grande cold brew with 1 pump of vanilla and light vanilla sweet cream foam. So if you guys go to Starbucks and you usually get like the cold brew, sweet cream foam, whatever it is, vanilla thing, they put 4 pumps of vanilla in a grande, which to me is like absurd because this drink is already so sugary. So whenever you're ordering a drink from Starbucks, just ask for like 1 pump of whatever it is, whether it's like vanilla, whether it's caramel, mocha, because it's seriously enough and you still taste it. And then I always do light cream, light foam, or whatever, because I still think that they put a lot in it. So just a tip, especially with like the new pumpkin spice cold brew, if you guys just ask for like half of everything or like light on everything, it is still such a pumpkin-y, strong, sugary taste. I promise you will still enjoy it. Okay. Now I have Ashley Brewer coming into studio in just a few minutes, and I really wanted her to come in. First off, I've actually known her since USC days. We were both athletes at USC. She was a swimmer there, and she was always like, seriously, the coolest, most beautiful girl in college. She was a few years older than me. I think she was like a junior when I was a freshman, and so she was always like the coolest girl on campus because she was not only an athlete, but she was like, you know, very social and very smart and obviously fucking stunning. So everyone always looked up to her. And so now it is no surprise that she is hosting SportsCenter LA. She is absolutely crushing it at ESPN. And I'm so freaking happy for her. So we're going to talk a little bit about her journey, how she got started in sports broadcast, and also a little bit of social stigmas of being a female in women's sports, because I don't know if you guys know this at all. If you are new here to Austin AF or to the Katie Austin brand, I actually switched career paths about 2 years ago. And I studied sports broadcast journalism specifically at USC because my entire life I wanted to be Erin Andrews or someone like Ashley Brewer, what she does. And I got started. I hosted the sports show at USC for about 2.5 years. I interviewed athletes and I was at games all in college. And that was kind of like my internship and my job. Right when I graduated college, I did very, very small freelance random jobs for free. And then about 8 months after college, I landed a job co-hosting a show on Fox Sports West. It was a prep zone show, Southern California Prep Insider. Fight on, because literally everyone on our staff was like from USC. And basically every Tuesday and Friday, I would interview high school athletes, whether that was basketball, football, swimming, volleyball. I even did. I did like state championship volleyball games. And I would just work a lot interviewing high school athletes for basically not a lot of money. I was so grateful for this job because it taught me a lot about hosting, production, and being, you know, involved with such a credible position. I was so blessed because usually after college you have to, you know, go to Kentucky in the middle of nowhere and work, you know, at a local station for a while before you can land a job like this. So me being 23, this was like an epic job, absolutely. But at the same time, you know, a lot of girls wanted this position because it was, you know, high school sports in Los Angeles, especially if you're like if you know Los Angeles area, like modern day high school. I did those football Friday night games, and that was a sick job. Those were on like local news at like 9 p.m. at all the bars. My friends would like Snapchat me like videos of me hosting it. So that was really, really cool. And from there, I would do other freelance things. And after, you know, a few years at Fox Sports West, I actually, you know, helped co-host the live NBA awards with Overtime. And from there, I did the Super Bowl with Verizon, which was fucking sick. I did all these amazing cool sports hosting jobs. But let me tell you, not for much money. I think I worked most of my jobs for free. It is hard because you put in a lot of research, a lot of work. You're up late researching these players and the games and looking at the stats and stuff for not a lot of money, and not a lot of freedom of what you can say. I remember when I was doing something for the NBA, I did a lot for the NBA hosting some digital content. And I would have to pre-approve some questions that I asked. And this is, by the way, 3 years ago. So I'm sure it's different now with influencers being involved in hosting and, NFL and NBA. But I had to approve the questions that I asked. And I got to ask a player after a game 3 questions. And this sounds really vain, but when I saw it played back, my face was cut out of it. I basically had no creative freedom with the questions that I asked because they got some of the questions that I wanted got denied. And when I saw it being played back, I go, damn, I'm kind of replaceable. Like anyone could fucking ask those 3 questions. And so I really wasn't in a position where I was absolutely loving it. I will say that. I think that it got me really amazing joy off of doing cool jobs and doing red carpet. And, I got to, do really cool experiences with sports hosting and be at the Super Bowl and be at the NBA Awards. I've done a lot. I'm so, so grateful for that. But when I made my career choice, strictly due to COVID, I've looked back and I was like, I want to sit here and, be like an Ashley Brewer. I do. From the bottom of my heart, I would love to be her. And because she's fucking killing it. And she absolutely loves what she does. She works so hard. And, she's the freaking host of SportsCenter. At the same time, I'm happy I made my career switch because I had to overcome a lot in sports hosting with no money and also being a woman in sports. One quick story before she comes in here. And I'm sorry if this is really demotivating you to get into sports broadcasting because Ashley is going to have an entirely different view when she comes in here. Trust me, she's going to be very inspiring for you guys to get started in sports broadcasting. I'm just trying to tell you guys some not glamorous parts of it as well and my history with it. I was hosting for a very big event. I'm not going to say what it was because it'll kind of give it away. I was hosting for a very big event. And Odell Beckham was actually who I was interviewing. And there was 3 hosts. It was 2 males and 1 female. And basically all the producers are male. There's 1 head female producer. And I hugged Odell Beckham Jr. because I've met him at the ESPYs a bunch of times. I've seen him out at Coachella before. I've partied with him. So I hugged him. And he was like, oh my God, girl, how you doing? And, we're talking or whatever. The female producer grabs me and is like, I don't like the way you're speaking to him, and I didn't like that hug at all. And I watched the other male hosts also hug other NFL players, and they obviously didn't get shit on or didn't have suspicious. She called me suspect. That's what it was. She called me suspect. And so that to me was one of my last straws in the sports hosting world. She was very demeaning towards me. And it's so funny because all the guys who worked in the sports, in sports and who worked for this channel were amazing. All the guys were so supportive. It was the one fucking other girl who was rude to me and was questioning me for being suspect with the NFL players. And to me, I was just like, oh, cool, women empowerment, sick. You guys are literally hiring me to be the one fucking female on this set right now, and you're going to demean me? Oh, cool, love this, women supporting women. So I've had a little bit of a different take on it. I'm not going to lie, and I just wanted to say this side take because, a lot of the time, the industry is like women supporting women and women empower women, but sometimes it's not that. And I just wanted to open up some people's eyes to that because I wish it was. I really wish it fucking was. But let me tell you, a lot of women in this industry are very, very, very competitive. And they won't seem competitive from the outside and be like, oh my God, I'm so happy for you, whatever. The one person, there's actually 2 people in the sports world. When I was getting started in sports broadcasting after I finished college, I was actually at a Rams practice hosting it for Fox Sports West, and I saw Ashley Brewer there. And we sat down and she took about 20 minutes of her time when she was hosting for another channel besides ESPN there. She took the time to sit down with me and tell me so much advice. I was asking her about getting a manager and she was like, don't get a manager yet. Do this, do this, do this. she was one of the women in the industry that I felt comfortable asking anything to. And I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart, because there's not that many girls in the sports industry, 3 years ago that I did feel that comfortable with, because it was such a competitive industry. And so I just really admire her for not only her kindness, but her, her motivation of how hard she works, and her advice that she gave me, 4 years back. I'm not even sure if she fucking remembers, but I remember. Those things go a very, very long way. And so I'm really excited to bring her in, and I hope that she can, inspire you to be a woman in sports, unlike I just did. I'm really, really sorry, by the way, because I know the industry is changing so much now as well, especially with digital. And I'm talking like 3-4 years ago. So hopefully it has changed a lot. And now let's bring in Ashley Brewer. You guys, Ashley's here in studio. First off, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I feel like honored that you would have me.
Shut
You're
the fuck
so
up.
cool. I'm sorry.
Your energy right when you walk in is just immaculate. And I feel like we just, vibe so well.
We're so similar too.
Yes.
I've always thought like our energy level, our excitement level, our like view on life is both just very positive and bubbly. And like to some people, that's like too much. For us, it's great.
A lot of people find me very extra. So yes.
That's good. I think I like it.
Yeah. And that's honestly how we got to where we are in our careers though, but being ourselves and being extra and being like, positive influences. And I think that honestly has helped us get to where we are.
Yeah. Like I think about the times we run into each other, like red carpet stuff, ESPYs, like we've both always just been like, hi, how are you? Like meeting everyone and like so excited to be there. And I think people like gravitate towards that.
Totally.
And so I think, it's helped us meet a lot of people, and it, people have fun hanging out with us and talking to us and in interviews and stuff. So I think it's worked.
Totally. And we actually go way back to USC days.
Yes.
And I remember, I actually talked about this in the intro, and I remember you were just always like, when I was a freshman, I was like, oh my God, Ashley Brewer. Like you were just like,
really?
Yeah.
I thought I was a loser in college.
Are you kidding? You were just like the stunning, hot swimmer, just beautiful.
Really?
Oh my God, are you kidding?
That's so
and you dated
funny.
an older guy who was like our same age, but he was older and he was really cute. I don't know.
Who? I've dated a lot of people.
But he was like really hot, I remember, and like everyone looked up to you guys.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even remember who that'd be, but like I don't know. I had a few in college, but nothing ever that serious. I didn't have a serious boyfriend until like way after.
Okay.
Because I was swimming so much and I was so focused on that. And I wasn't a party girl at all because I never was anyways, but then I was just swimming and training constantly. So I was just like, I feel like that version of Ashley is so different than who I am now, like, because my life is not even close to what it was. But that makes me happy because I always thought I was kind of like, it's a little chubby. Like I wasn't, I don't know. I was like, it was weird because like I was so swimmer, but I was like, we were so bulky and so strong. We were lifting every day. We were training 8 hours a day. And it was just, my hair was all like white and fried, like swimmer.
Especially swimming, you can't wear makeup. It's like, you obviously get wiped off.
I like didn't wear makeup until I got into TV. Because like we had wet buns in class every day. I wore sweatpants to school. Yeah. So it's funny that people thought I was cute because I looked like a dude.
You were stunning.
Thank you. I love you.
Just trust you on this. All the lacrosse girls loved you.
Cute.
So you were, I guess, used to working so hard, being a swimmer, and used to having off hours and, putting in so much work and time management, really.
Yeah.
We have a lot of questions, by the way. I open it up to my Instagram. Who has questions for Ashley? You got so many. Like I want to say like over 100 people were asking like, how'd you get your start? What's your best career advice for women in sports? And so we're going to get into all that. But I want to kind of go back to the beginning before, I would say what, 7 years ago you graduated? Okay.
Yeah.
And
what
so
was that, 2014.
Okay. Yeah. So, how really you got your first start out of college. And I think, that's the most asked question because a lot of our listeners are right out of college.
Yeah. I always tell people, like, don't compare yourself. Don't freak out. Don't worry because wherever you are and like wherever people are trying to make it, you're ahead of where I was like at that age. So I didn't go to journalism school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had no dreams of being like a sportscaster.
Wow. I didn't know that.
I didn't even want to or think about it. Like I was a swimmer. I trained, like I said, like 8 hours a day. I'd never had an internship, never had a job, never worked a day in my life.
You didn't even have time to think about what you wanted to do.
No, I was like, and it was swimming is 365 days a year. Like I was literally training on like Christmas. Like that is from the time I was 12 years old, I started waking up at 4 a.m. and doing double days. 12 years old. I get mad at my parents now. I'm like, why did you let me do that? That's like not okay. I would never let my kids do that someday. So I that was all I thought about all through college. I was a sociology major. Like, what does that mean? I don't know. And so I was just like trying to like graduate. And then I think my goal, because I did love sports, I had a brother at the time who was playing professional Major League Baseball. So I was like, well, maybe I can like work in the PR department or just be around baseball because I love baseball so much. I grew up around it. And so I'll just work for a team or something, but like not in TV, but like just around like working the field, whatever. And then like I kind of looked at my mom and we were just like coming up with ideas the last semester of my senior year. And she was like, let me just like reach out to different people I worked with back in her news days because she was a news anchor.
Right.
And she was like, well, we can ask the sports department if they need help with like anything at ABC. And so I got an internship. They only hired me because I knew baseball really well, not like because all the kids that like had the internship were like super, USC journalism school are. They're like so incredibly talented. They all had these like master reels that were like perfectly professionally done. And I'm this like goofball that's like, what's a reel? I don't know what that is. Yeah. And so I like first day I did an interview with Pat Hayden, I remember, on my internship. Wow. So I got the internship, interviewed Pat Hayden. And then my cameraman was like, you're really good, like in front of the camera. Did you feel that? And I was like, I didn't really think about it. Like I didn't really realize it was there. I was just kind of talking to him. So then he was like, well, try a stand-up. And he did the stand-up. He was like, I've never seen someone do a stand-up that good. And I was like, really?
Oh my gosh.
That's so weird. But I've never gotten nervous. I've never like thought too much about it. I never thought like, oh God, this is embarrassing. Oh, everyone's watching. I was just like, I'm just like talking.
Just comes natural. It's just
so first day it was a natural fit.
Wow.
And then from that internship, I did a bunch of those little goofy stand-ups and I clipped them all together on my laptop. Like I taught myself how to edit on my like little MacBook, clipped it out, put it on YouTube. And then I sat all day, every day. And this is like that like crazy psycho mentality I have of like, I'm going to be successful. I sat all day and I found emails, phone numbers, and I called and emailed like every news director across the country.
Hell yeah.
And I'm like, hi, I'm Ashley Brewer. I was an Olympic trials swimmer. I went to USC and here's my broadcast reel. And that's all I said. And I pushed it out to every single person that I could find on the internet, probably like 500 emails. It was like crazy. And, so I just found people's contacts and I'd follow up and I'd keep bothering them. And I got a ton of no's and a ton of people were like, you're young, you're like 21, you're 22, you don't have experience. We're looking for someone. But I still applied to jobs in like Chicago and New York because I'm like, I can cover the Blackhawks. Like, sure.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I could do that. And like, really, like I should have been in like a 200 size market, which is like the smallest. And so one day, a news director in Tucson, I reached out to him. I sent my stuff and he goes, that is so weird. 5 minutes ago, my sports anchor walked in my office and said she was leaving. And you sent the email. Yeah. And you sent the email 5 minutes later and you look like her. She was a cute blonde girl. And she's like, you look like her.
Stop.
I think we should bring you in. Like he thought it was like kind of a weird, like meant to be type thing. And I'm like, sure, whatever. I get in my car, drove to Tucson, did the audition. He was like, have you ever read a teleprompter? Have you anchored? And I was like, oh yeah, totally. Lie. Like never. I'm one of those people, lying is never good, but fake it till you make it. Pretend like you belong there. Act like you've been there before. So I get there and sit on desk and I'm like reading the teleprompter. I mean, I messed up a few times, but I'm just like, I just went for it. And I didn't overthink it. I just was like, I want this so bad. And I got the job and like everything just changed from there.
A quick ad break to talk to you guys about a product that I have been implementing in my daily routine. It is called Organifi. And what it is actually an organic superfood blend backed by science. So they actually have different like types of flavors and different health needs. So I'll just like run through a few of them, the ones that I love right now. Glow, it's actually natural collagen support. And then my favorite is obviously, if you guys know me in real life, is the pumpkin spice gold, made for rest and relaxation. So at night, I actually just heat up some water and then I put a serving of this Organifi blend into my hot water. And then last but not least, we have red juice made for energy support. And this is best served cold. So what you guys can do is put a serving in any beverage of choice. I love to just do water. I think it's easiest and easiest for on the go to help support whatever type of need that I'm wanting on the moment. And the coolest part about it is actually every single serving has less than 3 grams of sugar as well. So you guys can feel free to put it in any beverage, any type of water you guys want. Maybe spice up your water just a little bit and get some extra nutrients and extra health support when you're drinking your favorite beverage. So if you guys want to try Organifi, you guys can go to www.organifi.com/AustinAF. Once again, that's Organifi.com/AustinAF. Or if you all just go to the Organifi website, you guys can use my code AustinAF for 20% off. It is 100% USDA organic approved, so make sure to check it out. Now back to the episode. I actually don't know if you remember this, but we were sitting in a Chargers game and you were like very well known in the sports world. And I was just really getting into it. I was doing that Touchdown show.
Yes, I remember.
And I was like, I don't really know what to do next. I don't know what to do from here. I want to get into sports broadcast, but I'm not sure, blah, blah, blah. And you were like, don't get a manager.
Yeah.
That was your best advice.
Remember you were talking about getting an agent. And I was like, no.
Right.
Because I've had to deal with that throughout my career and good ones and bad ones. And that's a messy situation too.
And I remember you telling me that you email people and you got the job yourself. And I thought that was the most inspiring thing because a lot of people are like, where do I start? I don't have an agent. I don't have a manager. You guys, you can find so much information online.
God. We have the internet. It's a different world. You don't need, now I need one and I'm sure you have one now, but that is just like throwing money in the toilet at that age.
Absolutely.
To me, it was like the dumbest thing ever. And then I got that LA job by myself because they reached out to me once I went from Arizona to LA. And I still had to pay the agent because they did the contract and whatever. But I'm like, I could have done that
no
easily,
one's going to care as much about your career as you do.
Yeah.
So put it in your own hands.
So true. And then I think you get to a point where you find people who are equally matched and hungry with now they see, okay, we can make a lot of money together. We can grow a huge business. So I want this to be an equal partnership. And I feel like that's what I have now. But when you're young, they're just like, all right, we'll see what we can do with you.
Right,
We want to be, a lot of people I think too, want to be known as, oh, I'm repping that girl. Oh, I got this girl that. It's more for them and to be able to put it on their website more than it is about growing your career and caring about you and caring about your life and your family. My agent texts me every day and he DMs my best friend and we talk about everything and anything and I tell him about dates I go on. It's so funny.
That's nice.
So it's I've had bad, I've had okay, and I now have really good. And so I think when you're young, be hungry, figure it out on your own, get to the point where you absolutely need one and you can't handle it anymore. You know what I mean?
Totally, because you have so much work coming in.
Exactly.
I remember, funny story, I remember meeting with an agent who said that he created Carissa Thompson. Oh. And I'm like, Carissa Thompson created herself.
Wait, you have to tell me afterwards who that is.
And I'm like, okay, well, that's very interesting.
Did you tell Carissa, by the way?
No, I feel like that's very,
no one created Carissa because Carissa is one of a kind. But people will take advantage of people and try to claim people and think it makes them look cool. And it's like, yeah, I doubt it. I doubt you did that much, but whatever.
And we talk in the episode about being in your 20s and trying to figure out, we talk a lot about connections and how much your network matters. And we went to USC where we obviously knew a lot of people and, your mom helped set you up at your first job. And my mom obviously has helped me with a shit ton. Moms are the best. But some people, don't have the resources to make those types of connections, and I think you're a walking example on you don't need resources besides emailing, cold calling, and putting yourself out there.
Yeah, you don't need the USC journalism, degree, even though it helps. It's fabulous. The girls and guys who have it, I'm like, lucky you. That's amazing.
Right.
But it takes hustle. It takes the grind. It takes the focus. And I remember my mom sent me up on the phone, to get advice from someone really early on in my internship. And he's a big CBS producer. And he was like, well, I just want to make sure I know you're a young, attractive, blonde female. Just want you to know, you're going to miss out on a lot in your life. You're going to miss weddings. You're going to miss parties. And I was like, first of all, you're talking to the girl that started waking up at 4 a.m. at 12 years old.
Right.
You're talking to the girl that like never got to have sleepovers on Friday or Saturday nights because I had practice the next day and never got to date and never did any of the normal stuff. And then I was like, I'm going to be okay. Like, I was like, you're talking to the girl who can handle that. A lot of girls and guys can't. I think a lot of people in their first job realize, okay, this isn't for me. You know, I've worked every holiday. I've given up a lot in my life. I've given up relationships. I've given up the places I've wanted to live. I've given up so much. But look at the reward. It's so great. So I think you have to be just willing to, hey, I'll do anything to make it. The funny thing is, like, not everyone is like that and they're okay with it. Like, so for me, I'm like, I'll give up anything for this career. I love it that much. I'm so like, I will grind to like the end of like my life. My sister's like, I would never move to Tucson. Like, she's so funny. And we're like, in some ways we're the same, but we're the exact opposite.
Right.
She's like, I like would never move to Bristol. Why would you do that? And so it's funny that like, that's okay. Like, she has another job that she loves and that's different for her, but it's just a mentality that I've always had.
Especially in our 20s too.
Yeah.
And it's like, I always say this, like, I want to work so freaking hard for 10 years of my 20s, like maybe till I'm like 34, and then like build myself so high that I can pick and choose what I want to do and have this career that I can just fully live and be free. I mean, I kind of already have that a little bit, but you know what I mean?
That's like the blessing, I feel like, of this day and age, that you can enjoy life too while you do it. But I'm the same exact way where I'm like, I want to put everything in. I want to grind. I'm okay with like not being married or having a family or doing at this age. Like, I don't want that. Like, I'm like, good. Like, I love where I'm at. I wouldn't change a single thing that's happened to me or that I've done because this is like my path. My sister, I'm turning 30 at the end of this year. And she's like, aren't you like kind of sad? Like, you don't have a boyfriend right now by 30? I'm like, are you going to be okay? And I'm like, Abby, yes, but for her, she would want that. For me, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, there's just different things I think that are important to different people.
And that's why you can't compare yourself to anyone. You're on your own path and you're focused on your career right now. And you know that will come in time at the same time. So never focus on someone else's career path or what they're up to, because everyone wants something different.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I remember too, like, one last thing at USC, there were girls that were in the broadcast school and they had these amazing reels. And I remember we were at the internship and all these girls were talking about, oh, like, my reel's all done. Like, I sent it to this person wants to meet me, whatever. And I felt like, we're like, what are you doing here kind of thing? And it was just like not like a good, I just felt uncomfortable. I went to the parking lot and I called my mom and I started crying. And I'm like, Mom, I'm never going to make it. Everyone's so far ahead of me. These girls are kind of putting me down because I don't know what I'm doing. And I just feel like stupid. Like, I just don't know what I'm doing. My mom was like, do what you know is best. Keep working hard. Like, play up your strengths. Like, you know this, you're funny, you're kind. Work on all those things. Let them do their thing. Absolutely. And then have faith in what you believe, that God is going to put you where you're meant to be. And no matter what, whether it's in TV, whether, something else happens, you're going to be where you're meant to be and it'll be okay. And so I remember, like, it's just so funny because I picture myself crying in that parking lot and I'm like, none of those girls are even in the business anymore.
Oh, shit.
No, like, they all just like kind of fizzled out. And I just like stayed the course. I stopped worrying literally from that day what any other girls were doing in the business because I was like, I'm unique. I'm special. I know I have certain things that make me unique, and I'm just going to work on that. And
I love it.
Let them work on what makes them special, and, just let everyone kind of go on their own path. And I always did that.
I love that. And speaking of that, and you said earlier, like, a guy was like, you're a cute, pretty girl. I kind of want to get into, everyone knows you're absolutely drop dead stunning. So
thanks.
It's like, have you ever had any hardships with being a very beautiful girl in the industry and being like, oh, she's just so pretty. Of course, she can just like, speak on television.
Yeah.
And getting the job for that.
I've always gotten people commenting about my looks and, oh, she's the tall, leggy blonde and she's this, and this, and a lot of things on my appearance. It doesn't flatter me and it doesn't bother me. It's more just like, you're wrong. Yeah. And I look at that. I'm not one of those people that like tries to get into it with people on social media. I'm never going to respond and be like, well, did you know? Like, I don't have time for that. I don't care. I never have. But then I'm like, if that dude could watch a hockey game with me, then like he'd probably change his mind.
Right.
And if he wanted to watch a baseball game and hear what I understand and the people that I know and the fact that I know every single name in the MLB, like, that's your challenge. Like, cool. Yeah. If you think I'm like, cool, I'm only here because I'm hot, like, whatever. I remember like when it got posted that I like got this LA job and I got moved, everyone's like, oh, obviously, you know, she looks like that and whatever. And I'm like, that's fine, but watch me. You might like me, you know, you might see that I have a great personality. I'm a very kind person. I have a sense of humor.
You're talented as hell.
The best comment that I can get, or a compliment, I guess I can get from people, is when they say, at first, I just thought you were some like hot blonde, whatever. But I watched you and I couldn't believe how talented and knowledgeable and smart you are. And to me, I'm like, that's what I want to be known as, is like being smart and being funny and, you know, personable and talented. To me, that's like the greatest thing you could ever say. I don't care if you think I'm hot or not. I don't.
Yeah. But do you think that it's like annoying that you feel like you have to prove yourself in that way, you know?
I think it's just the way it is. I think it's one of those things there's like nothing I can do about. I thought like at one point I was like, should I dye my hair brown? And I remember telling Chris, I'm like, should I cut my hair off? And she's like, don't you dare.
Oh my God.
But I've always like, there was a point in LA where I was like, maybe I should like kind of like downplay myself a little bit. And because I think in LA, it was weird. In LA, I got more criticism than I do now on ESPN. I don't know if maybe it's, I've gotten a lot better. I definitely have. But a lot of people were really negative towards me when I was working in LA. And maybe it's because it's people at home watching the news, you know, grouchy people that are just
definitely
watching the weather and they're like, who's this blonde?
Nothing better to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, if people want to talk, if people want to have different opinions, I've always like stuck by that saying that's like, you could be the ripest peach and there's still going to be people that don't like peaches.
I love that saying.
There's always going to be someone that doesn't like peaches. And like, I'm like, that's okay. Like there's a lot of different people in sports, so you can like them. And if you don't like me on SportsCenter, you can change the channel. I hope you don't, but that's okay. Like I think I have always been very confident.
I was about to say that.
I don't know where that came from. I think it was how my parents raised me, that I've worked so hard my entire life for everything I have. I really haven't been handed a whole lot. Like I really was. Like I grinded for my swim career. I grinded for this TV career. And then I think my faith and just knowing who I am and what life is about. So I just believe that like that has this like confidence about me that like nothing anyone says or does can really throw me off that bad.
I was literally about to say you radiate confidence because you know exactly who you are.
For sure.
So that comparison doesn't really, you know, bother you at all.
No.
And that's a lot of things, you know, a big thing why I, you know, stopped, probably like 10% of it, why I stopped sports broadcasting is because I've had a lot of horrible incidents with women. I have. And I talked about this in the beginning of before you came in here a little bit and how it's like not as glamorous as it seems. Obviously, you know, it's not glamorous, but the only people who were rude to me in the industry were other women besides you, obviously. You and Carrie Champion. I actually
felt that way too. Like, people are like, what's it like being a girl in a guy's industry? I'm like, it's awesome. The dudes are my favorite.
The dudes are the best.
They're so cool. Yes. That's who I sit. I mean, and I've had a lot of wonderful, and I still have great females I work with, but the guys are like my boys. Like would, when I was in Bristol, I would literally sit with Barry Melrose, Butchergrass, Kenny Mayne, and just chill in our green room and watch hockey and watch games. And like, that was my comfort zone. And there were some women that were really great and amazing. Course, yes. Sage Steele, you know, there were so many wonderful people that like totally looked out for me and were so wonderful to me. But I would say if I could just pick either or, like who has been more difficult or made life harder on me, it would be some of the women, which is completely so sad because
I know, right?
It doesn't have to be that way.
It's so sad. Even not even someone fighting for your position or whatever. It's who I had a bad experience with. There was, you know, a lot of probably 10 male crew and the one female crew. She was the executive producer of something that I hosted. She was the mean one to me.
So, yeah.
And I hugged an NFL player wrong. Like suspiciously.
Give me a break.
And she literally questioned my intentions of being there hosting. Have you ever been accused of being in sports for the wrong reasons?
Oh my God. I think every single day. And that I'm just like thinking about, I'm like, that executive producer would hate me because I am friendly and friends with everyone. I love, people are always like, you know everyone. It's like, yeah, because one, like I had a brother that played Major League Baseball. My other brother's a baseball agent. I went to USC and we had so many athlete friends at USC. My other brother was a quarterback, and like, yeah, I know a lot of people and I'm friendly with people, and it's always very professional. But if I see someone that was my brother's roommate with the Diamondbacks, I'm going to run up and give him a huge hug because he's been in my life for 10 years and he's been a great friend to me and to my family. And I treat people like, you're my friend. And I don't care if I'm standing on Dodger Stadium. I'm not going to be like, oh, hey, like, sorry, I can't talk to you. Like, no, how's your wife? How's your family? How's your baby? Like, I love that's the best part of this job, is getting to know the people we cover and the people we get to work with at our company. And at other companies too. And so I learned that. And I remember I posted really early on a picture of me and an Arizona basketball player. We were doing a one-on-one interview. And afterwards I said, hey, can we take a picture together? And so we took a picture smiling in front of the camera. I had my mic in front of me. And someone retweeted it. It was like a media critic and was like, young broadcasters, this is what not to do. Oh. Don't post smiling with your subject or whatever. And I was like,
excuse me?
I disagree. Like, I was like, that's stupid. Like, usually I think when people give you feedback, your instant reaction is like, oh, shoot, I'm sorry. Did I do something wrong? But I was like, no, I didn't. I would take that picture and repost it all over again. Like, yeah, I'm showing that we just did a great interview. It's going to be on our news at whatever o'clock. And so, yeah, I think I'm so friendly like you. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I know when I would go talk to people, you know, at games or practices, and guys have been so great to me, by the way. Like, I've never really had bad instances. Like, I'll go in a locker room and guys are so cool and friendly and very respectful to me. And I think it's because of the way I carry myself too. I've always been that person that's like, yeah, we're friends. We're cool. Like, you know, I know your family, or I went to college with you or whatever. We're not trying to, like, nothing's going to happen here. They know that. I know that. So it's cool. But I think there were probably other people, reporters, that would look on. They're like, how does she know him? How does she know him? You know, why is she talking to him, you know, after they do their interview? Right. Well, because I'm friends with his wife. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, screw you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely think I think it was a long time ago, probably in that like early Erin Andrews phase, where they would see a beautiful woman and say, she only wants to do that because she wants to date an athlete. She only wants to get in, you know, to this business because she wants to hang out with football players or baseball players or hockey or whatever. I do think it was a lot worse then than it is now. And that's why, like, I think I came in at a pretty more accepting time, like a pretty open time, that it's gotten a lot better. Because there are women that marry like NFL players. There are women that meet the love of their life. And who am I to judge that that's wrong or right? I don't care. Find your husband. I don't care who you like. I mean, I personally don't want to do that and don't want to date that. But like, that's everyone's kind of personal thing.
So you wouldn't date an athlete? Because you have.
I had one.
Did you get shit for that? Like being in the industry and then dating an athlete?
Yeah. So I've always been
you're an athlete yourself.
That's a weird thing too. I was like an elite athlete for a very long time. So what am I supposed to like end and then never date someone that's like me again? That was always weird, but I don't really care. I did one person very seriously that for a long time too, we kept it private because of me. And I thought, and I still am very private in a lot of aspects of my personal life, but I knew I'm going to get a ton of heat from this, like social media, people in the industry that I work with.
Right.
I didn't even cover his team. But, and that was my thing. I'm like, if I'm covering someone's team, like, absolutely not. But we met totally like to the side, like years ago, we're friends. And then, you know, it was so serious that after a while, I kind of like stuck with it. And I was like, cool, but I'm just going to keep it very private. And after we had been together a couple of years, we made it public. And I was fine with that because I thought, this is so serious that we'll be together. It's no big deal. And I wasn't like wanting to hide it anymore.
Right.
I don't know if I would do that again. I don't think I would be I don't think I want to post anyone on Instagram
ever
until I'm walking down the aisle and it's like, surprise, she's married. Just because of
like Krista Thompson, right?
Because I think of the crazy feedback and the stigma around it. But no, I'm in such a different place in my life too now, where I think you get like into your later 20s. And yeah, earlier I was an athlete. And so I was around that and I was attracted to that. Now I'm like, I just want a really good person. I just want a really solid, like honest, loyal guy that like works really hard at whatever he does and is just very consistent and like just probably low key and like, yeah, I don't know.
Low key for sure.
I don't know. I don't know what I want, but I'm like, I'm single, I'm open, I'm dating. I'm like, we'll find out. But yeah, no, I'm just more like, I don't know what'll happen.
You don't need to know either.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine that, the type of feedback you would get for dating an athlete, because someone like me, I've dated 2 athletes and everyone around me, when my boyfriend met me, he knew me as a jersey chaser, which was the weirdest thing to me. Like one of his friends was like, dude, she only dates athletes, which is so weird. I've only dated 2 athletes. And
you were a great athlete yourself.
I was an athlete. It's been my world. My mom, my dad was an athlete, a professional athlete, and he's an NBA agent.
Yep.
And I want to just be like, it's my world.
I know.
And people don't judge. Imagine like you have a career in sports, right? Imagine someone has a career in finance and they date someone in finance.
I know.
Is anyone judging that person
for dating?
How
inappropriate.
Yeah,
a finance bro dates a finance. I know.
Right?
I know.
So it's like no one judges if you date the same industry type person that way. So why are they judging someone who's already in that world of sports?
I know.
And for me, that's how I met my boyfriend.
Yes.
I met him through my dad.
Oh.
Ish, you know what I mean? Because I was familiar with the basketball world. So it was like,
you're like, this is my network. This is the people I'm around and I know. And that's how I always said, I'm like, well, I'm not meeting anyone anywhere else because I don't go anywhere else. I'm not hanging out at the bars. I'm not going out to the clubs. Like, I think the only other place like I would go outside of work where I would meet people outside of that world is like my church. Wasn't meeting people there. So I'm like, okay, it's either church or sports or whatever. And
we're attracted to hard workers. And I think athletes understand what we do because they work really hard. They also give us our independence, a little bit because like they're,
they have their own thing.
They have their own thing and we have our own thing. And that's why I was always so attracted to athletes. It wasn't like, trust me, it wasn't because of their fucking money. That's for sure. I don't give a shit.
I'm like, now I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't need anyone. I'm cool. Like I'm doing my own thing and I want to have my own businesses, my own world, my own network. And I am, I guess, waiting for and looking for someone that complements that and that understands that. And I think like understands our position too and the attention that you get and the demands of your schedule and your lifestyle.
Yes.
And it's not always easy for a lot of people. I think too, people are like, oh my God, I want to like date her, whatever, I want to go out with you. And I'm like, it's not that easy. Like, I know it probably looks great and fun, but like, it's probably not easy dating me. I'm like,
your schedule.
I'm like, hey, I just got called into SportsCenter tonight. Like I wasn't supposed to, but now I got to do an interview. My plans constantly are changing. I can't commit to anything like super long-term. For a while, I didn't know where I was going to live, if I was going to be in Bristol for a long time, or where I was going to end up, or what even job I was going to do next, or if I was going to stay or go, or you just don't know. So it's someone I think that is like cool with a lot of different things that other people wouldn't be cool with.
Confident because you're so successful in your career. And a lot of guys would get intimidated, not only from your success for your career, but your sports knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know more than me, like, and like fight you on it. And like,
And I like hate, like when I go on dates or I like meet guys, I hate talking about sports because I never want, and it's crazy because that's all guys want to talk about. And I'm like, I don't want to ever come off like I'm a know-it-all or I know so much, or I never want to like put or make you feel awkward or feel like you have to prove anything or you know so much more, or like I'll share experiences. Oh yeah, like I did it, he's great. I'll see a guy on TV and I'm like, he's awesome, like whatever. But I don't ever want to like have to prove to anyone or them to prove to me. So
or you don't want to sit down at dinner and they think sports is your identity.
And that's like all I have to talk about. I'm like, how about like this and this and this part of my life? And what's your family like? And what's your faith like? And what's, where are you from? And like, I want to know about you. Cause like my sports career probably at some point is going to end. And then what else are we going to talk about? You know, you can talk about sports all the time.
So are you dating right now?
No, I'm single. I'm going out on dates, but I am single right now.
Okay. I heard a rumor that you were dating Jay Cutler. Is that false or?
Oh, no.
That was 3 of the questions on people asking.
What is wrong with people? No, it's funny because he was a friend of mine and we went out to dinner in a group. This is so funny. I'm telling anyone. That's kind of going to tell anybody. We went to dinner in a big group in Vegas because I went out for the UFC fight. someone freaking put it on Dumois and made it sound like it was like cozy and romantic. And I'm like, no, it's like, no, we're friends. We're cool. Like, he's great. Yeah.
No. I was going to say, Ashley, come on. I know he's your friend. I'm saying this, like, come on. I think you can.
He's fine. Like, Jay's cool. He's really cool.
Yeah.
He's, we're similar in a lot of ways. We're good friends. Like, I talk to him and we check in here and there, but he's like, he lives in Nashville with like a family.
Isn't that funny that people like literally got 3 questions about it?
Yeah. And it's funny because like it got all the way to my agents and then it got to the UFC and people were like asking the UFC, hey, like media, like outlets, did these two go to the fight together? And my agent's like, we're shutting this down. Because I told them, hey guys, like this is not like legit. Like we're friends. Like we had a group dinner. We all like went out. Like it was so like fun and fine. So to me, that's why I'm like, I want to be private because people
absolutely
like people can take the littlest, most innocent thing or see you with someone. And then I'm like, I went to dinner with someone else like the next night. I'm like, did they put that out there? Or like, why didn't that get on Dumois? You know what I mean? Like I went to dinner a few nights afterwards. I'm like, why didn't that go on Dumois? I don't know. But it's funny that people see one thing and then they'll blow it up. And then I'm like, if that's a story you guys want, that's fine. But he's like my friend. So
oh my gosh, that is so freaking funny.
People like still comment on my stuff about that. People comment about every guy I've ever gone out with on my pictures. Do you get that too?
Absolutely. Mostly like on like my TikTok and Snapchat, not really on my Instagram.
Yeah. I'm like, we've moved on from this stuff. Like, come on.
It's so funny because I think I've tried to set you up with like 3 guys. So you guys, I have these guy friends who are like absolutely awesome. And you're the only friend of mine that my guy friends are like, will you set me up with Ashley? So I'll send Ashley a message. I'll be like, hey, what do you think about this guy?
You don't feel like this happens every day. Like it's like people like friends of friends and whatever. And I mean, yes, I probably do need to like start getting out there and pushing myself to date more. One, I'm like so busy that that's like not a huge priority.
Right.
I am like, you know, I do get set up and there's certain people that like I'm probably like not going to hit it off. Or you can kind of tell with social media what guys are following, who they're like going out with, what their pictures are, like probably not going to be a good fit. So I can like weed out certain people. Other people, I'm like, yeah, it'd be great to meet him. I just like don't have time right now. Like I'm just super busy, whatever. But it's funny, like people always are trying to set me up and I'm like, do I like come off as like I need a man right now? Because I'm like,
not at all.
They're just fine.
They literally like 3 times before I even message you. I'm like, okay, fucking fine. I'll ask her. Oh my God.
It's like, I'm like, do I like have like desperate? Like, no, it's not that. No. I know. But like, I'm like,
you're a hot commodity, baby.
People are always like, can I set you up with this? I'm like, I don't know. I should probably be more careful like with who I think I am. Like, I don't just now, I used to, when people would ask me to dinners, I'd be like, yeah, sure, no big deal. Like, it's casual, it's no big deal. Now I'm like,
they're exhausting.
The Jay Cutler, like, I can't go to dinner with like anybody because you don't know who thinks what. Someone might see you, someone might get the wrong idea. So I'm very picky now. And I'm like, I just want a really good person. I just want someone who's like
just come naturally
on the same page. Yeah.
So really random question that I was wondering actually as you were talking. You have so many like SportsCenter appearances. Like you have to be on how many times a week? 5?
Yeah, right now it's like it's just all over the place, and that's the weird thing. I don't have like a really set schedule. Every week is so different.
How do you for girls who work in the industry as well, and have to wear amazing clothes every day? How do you dress yourself different in amazing clothes every time? That is literally a serious question because I'm wondering. I was picking out a shirt today and I was like, this is my last solid color shirt that I haven't worn on the show yet. And I was like, how the F does Ashley do it?
I know, because I am on TV pretty much every day. And when I was in Bristol, I was on like 7 days a week. I was working so much. I was doing some shows. I'd do the SportsCenter at 6 o'clock and then I'd do it again at 11.
And
I'd be like, should I change? So I would sometimes. Yeah. I like would spill or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'll just change. Like, so I'd always change outfits. So I tell girls, like, especially like in your first early jobs when you're not making a lot of money, like I made like 35 grand in my first job. And I was like, like that was my money to live off of. And so it was hard. Like that was my TV career and just starting and I was on TV all the time. So you start like small. I would say, I would like, go to like cheaper places like H&M, a Zara, which I still love. They're like little websites, of course, now you can get anything anywhere and just pick a lot of like solid things that you can mismatch. Cool blazers, like staple pieces and then just like revolve around that, you know? And then I'd always ask for like a big splurge piece, like for a gift for a holiday or whatever. And like, you know, whether that was a cool suit or a really nice dress. And so those would be like my big event, like big game outfits. And then, you know, the more money I started making, the more I was like, okay, so I won't shop here anymore because I need to like elevate and look a little bit classier and have nicer. So then I would like kind of just like go to different stores that were just a notch up. And I think every place in my career now, like you just kind of like, okay, I probably should spend a little more money on this, but you should see my closet is like a problem because I'm sure. Yeah. Like I try to give so much away too, but like I have so many different things and I buy it all myself. I did have a partnership with Revolve, so they send me a lot of stuff too. So
then you have to freaking post about it. They owe you literally 6 posts per outfit. And it's like,
mine was 7. I know.
I feel like there should be a type of, if you're in the industry, if you're a newscaster, like one of my other friends, Frances Wang, do you know her?
Yes, I love her.
She's a newscaster.
She's so cool.
There should be like a revolving, like a
closet.
System.
Yes.
Someone sends this.
I rent the runway for like newscasters.
Yes.
I agree. I know. And my thing too was like dressing for my job has always been really hard because I want to look youthful. I want to look like, I want to feel cute and young and fun, but I want to be appropriate. And I like some of the comments I get mostly are about my appearance and what I'm wearing. And if I wear a dress, it's always about my legs. Like it's always about, and I'm like, I have like normal legs. Like I don't think they're like anything special, but it's like, even if they're exposed, and I'm like almost 6 feet tall too, everything is short on me, everything. And so I have like a long swimmer's body. And so like most dresses are really short on me. And like, I can't help it. I feel so awkward.
And you
like
shouldn't like care to help it. That's just who you are. And that's
but I am like pretty, like I have always dressed really conservatively. Yes. I've always tried to be respectful and cover up towards the older audience. And that's just kind of how I've always been. I've always just tried to be more on the reserve side. So I feel bad sometimes when people are like, oh my gosh, I can see all the way out. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't like that.
Please.
I'd rather be like more on the reserve side than trying to look like a hoochie mama, like I go in the club. But I think the size of my body and how tall I am, like automatically makes a normal dress. Like I think if you were to wear a dress that I would wear, it would look so different on me because it would be like up
shorter
to here.
Right.
Yes,
right. That body. Totally makes sense. We are getting on kind of, low on time here because we could talk for days.
I know.
I have so many questions.
I'll come back whenever.
Please do. Holy crap.
To. Episode 2 already coming.
Yes. Okay. So basically one of my last wrap up questions, because I'm going to kind of combine a lot of these girls' questions, the Instagram questions into one, because this is like, a lot of them were more specific, but I think this one huge question, which is really vague, will kind of sum it all up. If you had to give your best advice for a female getting into sports broadcasting, what would it be? And I'm so sorry that is a very vague question, but
Oh my gosh, I know. And I get this DM all the time. And I'm like, I want to reply to you all, but it's so hard to. And I'm sure I can't even imagine what your social media situation is like. I would say to say yes to everything. Within your guidelines of like knowing your value and your worth and what your goals are. But you got to be down for the challenge and you got to be down to do things that are really uncomfortable. And I have had so many things in my life that I have, when it comes to me, I'm like, oh, I don't want that. That's scary, or that doesn't feel comfortable. And, I'm scared of what might happen if I do this. And I think the best things that have happened to me outcome-wise have been when I made that tough decision. And so the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life was move to Bristol. I was so like, ESPN came to me and I was like, I don't know, which is crazy because most people would be like, oh my God, book my ticket. I'm there. I'll do anything. But I was in a really great place when I was working in LA and I was like, I don't want to give this all up. And I said yes. I made the move. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to go through. I mean, sitting in complete loneliness in the middle of a pandemic. Like I moved.
I cannot imagine.
I moved March 7th and I think sports shut down like the 9th or something.
I literally just got chills. You moved March 7th?
Yes. March 7th was my move. And I was like, I get there and I'm sitting in the DoubleTree Hotel in Bristol right next to campus. And I'm like, so can I move back? Or like, and like everything started falling apart from the day I moved. Like personal life, work life even, they were like, hey, we don't really have a ton of work for you right now. I'm like, what do you mean? I just moved, but they don't have. So I'd call my agent. He's like, I don't know what to tell you because everyone's feeling this way. And went through a breakup and like, you know, then hadn't seen my family or friends in forever. And everyone's like locked down. And I'm like, oh my God, I thought actually for a long time that I made a huge mistake. And I just remember living in regret for like those first few months thinking, oh my gosh, I ruined my life. Like, what am I doing? Oh. And I was really sad for a period of time. And really for the first time in my life, like we said earlier, like we're happy, we're peppy, we're having so much fun. Life is great.
It's a different feeling.
I'm always like, look on the bright side kind of girl. And this was the first time I was like, there's no bright side here. Like there is none, but you just have to in those ways. I had a lot of like help with family and friends that were there for me and, you know, my faith that helped guide me through it all. But you put your head down, you keep showing up to work, you just be as tough as you can and you suck it up. And boom, September 28th, I think, my first Sports Center, they were like, hey, can you host today? And I'm like, how do you host Sports Center? What do you mean? And then my career just like took off and everything changed. And now I'm living like it almost feels like too good to be true. So many amazing things in my career are happening and so many blessings are coming, which never would have happened had I not moved to Bristol.
Absolutely.
So you just got to grind it out, put your head down and just keep like working. And
knowing it's temporary, I think also is probably so huge because I said this in 2 episodes ago. I was like, if you're at a job where you're miserable and you know you can't get ahead in this job, then maybe like find a different career path. But you know that that job that you had, even though you're really miserable, could help you get ahead and go to the next step. So knowing that it was temporary probably helped get you through. And anyone like hating their job right now, but like waiting for that next step, stick it out.
Stick it out. And like Carissa Thompson gave me great advice. She's like, while you're here, while you're in Bristol, work on those things you're not good at. Use this time. You have no distractions. You have no place to go. Work on the things that you need to get better at. She was like, you're amazing. You're so good at what you do, but find those little weaknesses, whatever they are. And you know them and the people that, you know, your producers can tell you and just grind that out. And I use every Sports Center as an opportunity to get better and better. And I get so much feedback at work, which is I love. And I'm constantly just like, how can I continue throughout my whole career? Hopefully someday I'm like 40, 50 years old doing this and I'm still getting better every single time. And so I just think you just like got to keep chasing and, you know, grind and outwork the other person and the rest takes care of itself. It always does. It always does. Yeah.
It always does. Well, I think that's a beautiful place to end, by the way. Ashley, thank you so much for coming in today. And where can they find you on social media?
Yes, it's Ash Brewer on Instagram, ESPN Ashley on Twitter, but be nice on Twitter because everyone's mean there. Like, why are people so crazy? And then I'm on TikTok, actually, which is weird. I'm like trying to get into TikTok, but like I'm not really great at it. I need help. But I think it's Ashley E. Brewer. I don't know.
Okay, and then watch you on Sports Center.
And I'm on Sports Center, LA, so I'm on like 10 p.m., sometimes 9 p.m. West Coast time.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
It's the best. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'll see you guys next week.